So what exactly is a shrug snug? Shrug snugs are simply tightly crocheted spirals that we use in a unique way to snug our shrugs closed. Each mom receiving one of our shrugs will be getting one of our shrug snugs. And I could show you the cards and the PDFs that are on the website in a minute. I just wanted to demonstrate quickly how these work. This beautiful shrug, one of our important board member / volunteers, Andrea, brought to us yesterday. And we do have a bunch of different shrug snugs that we can choose from. I might let her pick her own that she wants to put with this shrug. But you simply insert them through one side of the shrug. The mom will be wearing this, by the way. And we do have a picture at the beginning of this video, but I wanted to demonstrate how we put them in. So you put it right through, front to back, other side, back to front. And because we use such chunky yarns and big hooks and needles, any space in between the stitches becomes the buttonhole, if you want to call it that. Pull it through, and then don't tie it, just give a tug. And that will keep the shrug closed on the mom. The closure is formed in between the folds of the spiral. So one of the things I wanted to point out is you want the spirals to be on the fairly tight side. Maybe go for those toothy leftovers, those yarns that have a little bit of grip to them, like Red Heart Super Saver. If anybody has any Red Heart Super Saver laying around, that's a perfect yarn to use, because that roughness kind of helps the spirals stay a little tighter, and it does help. So that is how they are used on the shrugs. I was lucky enough to be up in Newport, Rhode Island last weekend, and I visited my favorite yarn shop, Knitting Needles on Thames Street. And Michelle and I looked around at some of her yarns, and we tried to pick ones that would combine nicely with other yarns to make a sparkly accent piece. If you could keep in mind with the Shrug Snugs, we're trying to make it almost look like a piece of jewelry, a beautiful accent to add to these shrugs. If we could focus on silvers and golds, that would be great. I am in the process of dyeing up a new yarn for our Shrug Hug yarn line, which will just be a single skein of our most sparkly yarn. And I'm going to be making them in tones of silver, gold, rose gold. So you'll be able to add that to any of your fingering weight yarns to add that silver gold sparkle, turning a more matte finished yarn into a more sparkly yarn. I used our sparkly yarn here mixed with Michelle's Uluru yarn, which I've used in the past. It's by Queensland, and if anybody wants any of these yarns, Michelle is prepared to ship yarns to you. You can place an order over the phone, and this particular yarn I love, and I misplaced the label. So Michelle knows the rainbow skein, and she could help you with that if anybody would like to add one of these yarns to your leftovers. But when you add our silver and gold sparkle to the Uluru, look at the lovely Shrug Snug you get. It adds, the gold in this yarn happened to be blending with a gray area of this yarn. This is great because it's got white, it's got tan or gold, and gray or silver in it. So when you hold two strands together, it really makes a unique piece. That does look like a piece of jewelry. We also have these yarns that Michelle has in stock. They are really unique. They're these little balls, and they go quite a long way. They're called Rikarumi, and she knows them from, like, a lot of her customers were doing anagurumi crocheted stitch, and for some reason they had a lot of this in their supply, in their inventory. If you mix this high sparkle with anything, it really makes a nice accent piece. So these are great added to anything. I actually added this sparkle to one of our yarns, and it came up with these great accent pieces. Moving across here, this is a single strand on a J-hook, the mystery yarn that I forgot the name of, that Michelle knows, the rainbow. As you just work with it, the colors just keep changing. Now, each Shrug Snug will kind of vary with the way the colorways pass through, but each one I've done so far, this was on a J-hook. Again, 12 inches. You're just going to make a 12-inch chain. The stitches will depend on your hook and yarn size. So I think with a J-hook, I typically do about 50 stitches, but we'll get into that later. So that's a real nice one. Now, oh, imagine if you had a sequins, a black sequins yarn, something similar to this one, but in black. I bought this in Michelle's shop as well, and I'm actually working on a sample that I'll pull out later in this demonstration. I'm using a J-hook and this in another yarn. But this is called Rozetti Cotton Gold. And if Michelle had this in black, carry that with this. Oh, that would look really nice. So that's another yarn. And this here, this is a fun yarn. And this I held with a strand of the gold as well. This is Knitting Fever's Painted Sky. I like this yarn because it's very bouncy. I just wanted to add a little color to it. Oh, you know what? I was wrong. I added this to it. This is what I added to it. This is one of my leftover scraps from one of our Shrug Hug yarns, the one that we'll be doing the silver and gold for you. But I just added that to this. And I think I did this on the J-hook as well. This is so silky and bouncy. So when you're doing the Shrug Snugs, the stitches just are so bouncy, and I really like working with that one too. So that's a Knitting Fever yarn, Painted Sky. Then the last sample I have here, this is a lot of fun. Classic Shades Sequins Lite by Universal Yarns. A lot of yarn, a good price. I mixed it with one of these. The sequins in this really jump out. It's not overloaded with sequins. It's not super sparkly, but where they do have the sequins, it adds just enough pop. And again, I've been doing it with this sparkly yarn. We do need all kinds of colors because we will be matching the shrugs to the Shrug Snugs, to shrugs made by other volunteers, and they come in all different colors. So it's handy to have a variety. So please feel free to send what you have. You don't need to go out and buy any special yarns for this. Now on the website, we have a PDF. If you print it out on cardstock, this is our Shrug Snug PDF note, I think that we call them note cards, or tags. Print it out on cardstock if you can, double-sided. And then we really want you to add your name to the back side of the card. It says, insert this snug through your shrug. No need to tie, just give a tug to help secure this great big hug. So the moms receiving it will know what to do with it. And on the back, handmade for you with love from, on this one I put Mary Langdon, Martinsville, New Jersey, our website. And it makes you part of the gift. So between your card and your Shrug Snug and the handmade shrug by our other volunteers and their note card, the mom gets even more love in each package. And I'm just going to show one more thing before we start this lesson. This is the way the mom will receive the package. The Shrug Snug, your little card, our face mask keepers, which are crocheted chains with little clips on the ends that hold a mom's face mask on, similar to like an eyeglass lanyard, a little notebook and pen, and the toiletry packs card from the Shrug Maker. And then we seal the back, little extra security, keeps everything nice and tidy. This is how we ship to hospitals. When we ship to Momcology in Hayden's house, there's a different purpose. They are in bags, but they do not come with the toiletry items because those retreats are different. They will include the Shrug Snug, your card, and the card from the maker. So those are different shipments. So that's how those go out. Now let's get to our lesson. I am going to use a very big hook, a Q hook. This is not what you'll be using. I just want you to be able to see what we're doing. Most people know how to crochet a chain. That's pretty basic. But if you don't, everyone has to start somewhere. Let's do this again. Slip knot. Wrap it around your fingers. Oops. Wrap it around your fingers. Pull it through. insert your hook, give a little tug. Let's see, I guess I'm not going to do 12 inches with this. This is just a demonstration so you can see what this is. Experienced crocheters, you're going to just crochet a 12-inch chain. Then you're going to insert your hook into the first stitch next to the stitch where your working yarn is. And you're going to use your discretion. You're either going to do 4 double crochets in each stitch or 3, depending on the size. Maybe I would suggest 4 double crochets if you're using an I hook and 3 if you're using a J hook. So if that's all you needed to know, I don't want to take up too much of your time with this video, but let's watch this. So you have your chain, and if you've never really crocheted before, it could be confusing because crocheters a lot of the time are doing multiple stitches into one stitch. And I know when I was trying to learn, it was kind of hard for me to see where they were putting the hook. So to start simply, after you do your chain, in our Tunisian class, if you've watched that, we're working into the bumps on the back of the chain. But in regular crochet and most crochet, you're working into the nice, pretty series of loops that make the crochet chain. So if you look at the beginning of the chain, this is the stitch that has the working yarn in it. You can see it coming out right there. We're not going to start in that stitch. We're going to start in this stitch. That's the second loop under it. And if you look at it sideways, it looks like a bunch of V's. That V has the working yarn. This is the V you're going to stick your hook into. So to do a double crochet, it's a yarn over, insert into that space. Look, if you can see again, it's right here. Working yarn, that space. Yarn over, that space. Yarn over, pull through the first one. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. That's the first one. I am going to squeeze 3 into this stitch just so you can get the rhythm. The nice thing about crocheting, you're going to see this space. As soon as you do 1 double crochet in that first stitch, it opens up and it looks more like a loop. That's much easier to see. They are all going to do that as you work down the chain. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 2 double crochets. As we get further away from the working yarn, we're going to be able to count these easier across this bar, the top of the loops that we're working into. So we'll do one more. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that completes the first stitch. We're going to do that in this stitch, just all the way across the chain. So now you're going to see a little bit easier how we're going to count the double crochets. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1. Now if you look at the chain, I'm trying to keep my yarn loose. Look at the chain, that's the first one right there. It's attached to that second chain that we did. The third chain is right there. You're going to be doing 1, 2, 3 double crochets across that. So that's the first one. Let's do another one. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 2. 1. See the loop? There's 1, there's 2. 1 more. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 3 double crochets in that 1 loop. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to move on to the next chain, which is here. You can see them if you just take a look. You can see all these spaces. And I'm sorry for all of the more experienced crocheters if this is really too simple. There are people like me who could never really catch on to crochet because typically when I watch, YouTube was great because now you have videos. Books were very hard for me to try to learn from. Videos are great, but I found that even the classes I would pay for, the knitting instructors are using hooks that were kind of hard to see. I know most people use maybe a G, H, I hooks, but not so easy if you're teaching someone. So here we have 2, 1, 2, yarn over, insert. I just want to do enough so you can see how this is going to start spiraling. So where do we leave off? Oh, we got 3 done already. 1, 2, 3. Let's move on to the next chain right here. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over 2, yarn over 2. That's 1. Yarn over, pull, 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 and 1 more. See, we have 2. 1, 2. Yarn over, insert, yarn over. So that's 3. You can see it's starting to curl. This is a gigantic sample, but you can see how it's starting to curl. Let's do the next one. Here it is, right here. Yarn over, insert. So I will do 3, because you guys got the hang of the stitch. That's it. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, pull through 2, pull through 2. And that was already 3. 1, 2, 3. Next stitch. Also, very important, keep your working yarn loose every now and then. Just give a few pulls so you don't create tension, unnecessary tension for yourself. That's the first one. There's my chain. There's my loop. I have 1 double crochet on that loop. Yarn over, insert. 1, 2, yarn over, insert. So that's 3. And it's starting to curl, as you can see. So instead of continuing on this, I'm going to switch over to a smaller hook now that you saw the big demonstration. Here's one I was working on upstairs. I happen to like these furls hooks. Handy, I have an L, an I, which is what I use for the 2 strands of fingering weight. Lots of people have fingering weight leftovers. Even if you run out halfway through, you can just tie another fingering weight on and really use your scraps. Just make it work, and they all come out beautifully. And I have a K. However, I really like these furls when I'm using darker yarns. The plastic is so slippery, and I guess they say maybe it's resin, but it's a very slippery hook, so you could work quickly. So here again, this is that beautiful yarn I got from Michelle. It's Rozetti Cotton Gold. And this is one of my leftover scraps from our hand-dyed yarns. This is a really nice yarn. This is a Blue Face Leicester leftover. And again, the bounce, similar to the Painted Sky that I showed you from Knitting Fever. This is really nice. So we're going to have in our shop some coordinating skeins of this yarn, and I happen to dye these 2 together one day. But what we're going to offer in the shop, which by the time people see this video, we will probably have these already available. You can always buy a skein of each of these and keep them just for doing Shrug Snugs. As always, 100% of all money raised from our yarn sales, our Shrug Club kit sales, it all funds our mission. But so do the Shrug Snugs with your leftovers. That supports our mission as well. So no pressure to buy our yarns. It's just, this is a nice bouncy one to work with. And I happen to be mixing it with this nice Sequins yarn from Michelle's shop. So you can see this one, let me toss these on the floor. This is more of a real Shrug Snug, a size we would be using. And you can see how it spirals on itself. And this is where, in between these folds, is what helps keep the shrug closed. So let's orient ourselves here. Much harder to see, but there's our chain, all the little V's. That's our next stitch right there. So we're going to yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Here's our next stitch, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. That's 1. 2. I'm doing 3 with the J hook. 1, 2, 3. Next stitch, right. There's our V's right here. And again, even with the smaller yarns, you can see how the stitch starts to open up and it looks like a ring. It looks like a circle. So you're just yarn over, insert back into that circle. And that's all you're doing. 1 more. Don't get too hung up if accidentally you do 4 in 1 stitch. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to notice. These are for fun. Help you use up your leftovers in a meaningful manner. And these Shrug Snugs can be shipped to my home address, which is Mary Langdon, 1 Redwood Road, Martinsville, New Jersey, 08836. And that is on the website, probably underneath this video or somewhere close to it on the website. I think that I did start with 50 stitches for this one. Again, 12 inches. Let me pull it through. Got a little, need to unravel my yarn. I missed that stitch. So if you make a mistake and you have to pull out, just do like that. Yarn over, insert. These lights are bright, so I lost that thin thread. So that's 1, 2, 3. When you're working, if it looks like your work is very flat, don't worry. It is still going to curl. We're going to give it a little bit of help. These become really addictive. I need to put these down for a while and work on some of the shrugs because we have a bunch going out. We have a dozen going out in 2 weeks to Momcology moms. So those will be shipped to 12 home addresses. I don't have the home addresses yet. Well, those are packed up and ready to go. And then in May, we're going to be starting our shipments to Hayden's house, which is a retreat house for moms who have lost their children. And Hayden's house is part of Hayden's Heart, a 501c3 nonprofit charity here in New Jersey. And they were able to buy a house that they use for the retreats. And we will be donating 100 shrugs done in our Grace colorway in our Shrug Club kits. So if you'd like to support a mom who has lost her child, who's going to be attending one of these retreats, go to our Shrug Club kits, purchase one of the Grace colorways, and your shrug will be shipped and waiting for a mom who's beginning her retreat. Again, give a little tug. We are getting close to the end. But I need to get cracking on my Hayden's House shrugs. Oops, I missed the thread. Yarn over. So this month of March has been a little bit crazy. We have not gotten around to doing our podcast episode, or vlog, I guess some people call them. It's been busy, and Kath is slowly transitioning back into the school systems, her Mount Olive Township school systems. Kath is a teacher, and they're slowly going back to in-person. And every time there's a little COVID exposure, everything shuts down and she stays away just to be on the safe side. So we just adapt, make changes. We're planning, but we haven't been together. So I thought this would be a good addition. In some months, we might not have tons of news. We want our episodes to be relevant. We want them to have relevant content. Sorry. Okay, so we're at the end of our chain. I have one stitch left, and I'm going to put one extra, so it's going to be 4 in this one. So that's 1. There's our circle or loop. 2, 3, to just add a little extra spiral to the end, and that's 4. And then to finish off, do a chain, but then just cut your yarn. I need snippers. Just cut your yarn and pull it through like that, and then give a little tug. And then weave in your tails. Did I bring? I like these finishing needles. I got these on Amazon. They're Susan Bates finishing needles. They come in a package of maybe 5 of these in different sizes. There's, I think, 2 that are smaller and 2 that are bigger. They're the easiest thing for weaving in all your tails. Our big chunky yarns that we use on the shrugs, or these little yarns like this. How easy is that? Even with my bad eyes, it's easy to see where that eye is. Pop it through. And then I'm not going to be too fancy. Let's get both ears. You could do 2 strands of this because the thread is so thin. Where if you have a thicker yarn, you might want to do each of those strands individually, but that is so thin. Just kind of weave it through anywhere. Pull it through. The sequins might get a little snagged every now and then. I have to kind of work around a sequence like that. And then you have your other tail. They're both on the same end, on the same side. Pull your 2 strands through, and same thing. Just kind of stick it in anywhere. Weave it through, pull it through, give a tug, and again, snip, snip, pretty close to the surface. And then, like I said before, you might need to give it a little help with these spiral. All you have to do is help it go in the right direction. Like that. And finish it off. And that makes your spiral. Oop, come on, flip around. And that makes your spiral. So that wraps up our little tutorial on making Shrug Snugs. They are fun. They are practical because you use up your scraps. They don't take too long, and we can really use your support. There you have it. Hopefully, Kath and I will be putting together another podcast for you all soon. Take you back into the dye studio. Maybe we'll be dyeing some of our new yarns. We need a name for them. They're that new. For our, add a little extra sparkle to some of your yarns. And that's it. So thanks so much for watching. And we hope you are inspired. Dip into your stash. Remember the moms that we serve. And we will see you soon. Thanks for watching.